Let's queer up social justice. LGBTQ plus advocates celebrate legislative wins and community resilience amidst challenges. Pride Month may have ended, but the LGBTQ community has plenty of victories to celebrate. The Trevor Project and the American Civil Liberties Union state that despite over 550 anti-LGBTQ bills introduced in 2023, only 80 became law. So far in 2024, of the 527 anti-LGBTQ bills introduced, just 41 have passed. While these numbers can seem overwhelming, the success rate of anti-LGBTQ legislation is low, and it is due to the dedicated efforts of queer activists. Additionally, several states have passed laws this year protecting LGBTQ rights in education and healthcare. Gabby Doyle, Senior Manager of State Advocacy at the Trevor Project, told The Advocate, "We as a community have been successful in really sharing our experiences and stories with our representatives and local media." Doyle also notes a clear divide with blue states advancing LGBTQ protections while red states offer restricted queer rights. However, thanks to the efforts of LGBTQ advocates and community members, even red states like Georgia, Indiana, and Kentucky have seen increasing difficulty in passing hateful laws. Doyle emphasizes that despite the focus on negative stories, it's crucial to recognize and celebrate these positive developments as they have a profound impact on mental health. It said positive, but I say profound, because when you're able to see that, yes, somebody is standing up for me, you know, and yes, there's a lot of queer activists that are standing up, but I also have to say there are people that are not queer, that are heterosexual, that have parents of queer children, or maybe they don't have any, you know, gay or bisexual, you know, children or nieces or nephews, but it's a matter of what's doing right. Let humans be humans. You know,
no, that's a great point, Michael. To one of our earlier stories about like people coming out at an earlier age, I think part of this too is that what we're seeing is younger people coming out at an earlier age, and it's impacting everyone, right? It just is not impacting, you know, us in urban neighborhoods, right? It's impacting people in Kentucky and Indiana and Georgia, right? And so I think increasingly we're seeing more representation of us, and people are coming out earlier in age.
Totally. And it's not like, you know, just because you were in Indiana or Kentucky that, you know, you didn't identify as gay or had gay, you know, thoughts or feelings or dealings. You know, I was on a cruise 2 years ago and I met a newlywed couple, heterosexual, and we are still in contact today. The coolest couple, you know, and they were there on their honeymoon, but just so cool. And the guy, you know, tattooed, you know, ex-military, but just a loving individual. And so I think, you know, there's a Bible verse that says, he who wants friends must first show himself friendly. You know, we as people need to just put down all the pretense. Be who you are. Let people see your light and who you are. And people will gravitate and some people will not. And the ones that won't, okay, bye.
Right.
Bye, Felicia.
This is fantastic news, and I hope things continue in our favor, but Debbie Downer wants you to know that I recently read about Kim Davis, that Kentucky vision of long, stringy, unwashed hair, dirty fingernails, and ill-fitting garments. She's appealing the ruling that has her having to pay her attorney fees in the thousands, and she also seeks to overturn the 2015 Obergefell ruling while she's at it. So these people, they do not go away. They just step down like Paul Dans and then get to work in their mom's basement on the next act of crazy. So while it's good news, just don't look away.
Don't look away. And it's good in a place like Kentucky. I'm glad you mentioned it. Like, I love Andy Beshear. I fell in love with this guy. I fell in love with his family. But like, this is a Democrat governor who won re-election by 5 points. You might as well say he won by 30 points because Kentucky is such a red state. Donald Trump won Kentucky by 20 points over Joe Biden. And so there is some hope. Yes, they're out there, but like we're fighting back. And I think about a place like Indiana where Mayor Pete Buttigieg is from. And then Georgia, we have 2 Democratic senators. So yes, they're out there, but I think we have to continue to fight back, right? We have to continue to keep forward, no matter how many beatings we get. We have to continue to push forward. And I do have some hope in a place like Kentucky, where we have Andy Beshear, and I hope he's our VP pick for Kamala Harris. But anyhow, that there's some hope out there.
Yeah, but for every Buttigieg, remember there's also a Mike Pence.
There is a Pence.
So just remember that.
Absolutely.